good evening, good evening, one and all, and welcome to another panel debate show. Thank you for joining me. And before I get started in the show, please like and subscribe to the channel. Like, subscribe, and hit me up in the comment section. Okay, but keep it respectful. Also, hit the notification button. You will notify when I go live. As I said, I'm on the road to 1K. I've got currently 849, 159 to go. I mean, obviously, we're not going to get it done before the end of the month, but if you can keep on still smashing that subscribe button, if you haven't subscribed already, we can probably get close. You never know, but keep on smashing that the like button and also the subscribe button if you have not subscribed. You've shown me tremendous support so far. So this is the Red Reasoning Show, episode 3, and we're going to do something a bit different today. We're going to have a little calling. So if any of you guys want to ask us questions and stuff, yeah, please feel free to do so. So I'm going to bring you my esteemed guests, uh, Callan Nichols, fresh
Oh,
from scoring a hat trick at football today. How are you, sir?
I'm tired. The legs are tired. Yeah, not too bad. It was a bit of a rush today, but I am delighted to be here. How are you doing, my friend? How was your birthday? Did you have a good one?
It was nice. I mean, I had a good birthday. I celebrated with you guys. You know what I mean? You guys came in and gave me some great birthday wishes, and I was touched and both humbled and touched by the message that I received from you guys, and it's really nice. So a very good day spent on my birthday, to be honest.
Good
Very
stuff.
good. Yeah, thank you very much. We have got 12th man in as well. The president, well, the next president of the United States is in the background. He's right here.
There he is.
Yeah,
Ooh, the new kit behind it. Oh, I like
Oh,
it.
get it, that's son. Get it.
I brought some friends. I
Go
brought
on.
some friends with me. I brought some
Go on, sir.
friends.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, you ready to sort of for the debate?
Oh, absolutely. Always ready.
Yeah, I know you always spread positivity. You always spread positivity. And guys, please, guys, please show these guys support. Okay, they're doing great work in the Liverpool FC space. They're doing really good work. Do you know what I mean? And there's not enough good words I can say about these two guys. Do you know what I mean? My friend Cannon Nichols here. He's got his channel. Please like and subscribe to Cannon Nichols' channel as well. Show him some support. Okay, like and subscribe. Also, my good friend here, a person that I will call anytime I'm in trouble. I will call a Liverpool tough man to get me out of any problems. You know what I mean? Please like and subscribe to Liverpool 12 Man channel. Does some great content. As I said, listen, he's really up on his research. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, what he's giving you at the end of the day is no BS. It's no BS. It's strictly facts. It's just up to you, obviously, at the end of the day, to either agree or disagree with it. But I'm telling you, it is no BS. Do you know what I mean? So please show these guys some support. Okay. We might as well address the elephant in the room at the moment. First off, because I'm gonna sort of like put the link in the chat, and if anybody wants to come in and ask any questions and so forth, they could do so. But let's discuss the elephant in the room now. Over the last couple of days, it's emerged at the day. Well, it's emerged with something that we probably already knew already. I think we already knew at the day that sort of like we was going to get this guy because number one at the end of the day he's got a good age. Number two, he was going for a good price, and number three at the end of the day he can play a multiple positions along in sort of like the midfield, and I think that's a player that we want. I know people are screaming out for the DM and so forth. Do you know what I mean? I get that, but if you can get a player at a good price that can play a multitude of roles and within that midfield area, do you know what I mean? You're winning. Do you know what I mean? Because as I was talking with Canal backstage, when Gino Ronaldo come in to the club and then he was a 10. He was a 10 for Newcastle and a 10 for Holland. Do you know what I mean, right? Klopp and then they worked with him and turned him into one of the best holding midfielders in Europe. Do you know what I mean? So the Ryan Gravenberch at the end of the day signing to me at the end of the day, I welcome it with both arms. You know, I do okay both arms, and I think that the core that was always going to be a stumbling block because there's asking between like 70 to 75 million, and to be honest, at the day, he's a good player and all, but I don't think he's worth that money. He's not worth that money. Do you know what I mean? You know.
No.
So like apparently now it's been because Bayern Munich was in the hunt for João Paulinho from Fulham. They really want to sign him, and he wanted to go. So that was going to be the replacement. To what I understand, that they've reached a verbal agreement, and they were Fulham for Paulinho. I think it's Paulinho. That's it. Paulinho, Portuguese midfielder. They've reached agreement for him. So that's allowed sort of like Liverpool to have a free one. Right, Gravenberch. Now, Man United was in for him. You know what I mean? But Man United can't spend money, so if anything, it will be a loan thing. And I think what it was with Ryan Gravenberch, he wanted a permanent deal. That's why he swayed, to Liverpool. And plus, at the end of the day, the Jurgen Klopp effect. Do you know what I mean? Because don't think at the end of the day, Jurgen Klopp's name didn't play a part in this deal. You know what I mean? So a deal's been agreed for 40 million euros. That's probably something about between 32 million or 33 million pounds, something like that. Do you know what I mean? For the player, and I still think that's a good price. I still think that's a good price for a young 20-year-old that was blowing up at Ajax. It's only to say that in the day that he's come to Bayern Munich and he's not like it hasn't worked out for him. But so what I wanted to do in the day, I want to obviously go around the table. I want to get your thoughts on the deal. Get your thoughts on the deal for one, excuse me, and two at the day, is this a successful window? Or no, actually, how would you rate the window so far? So I'll come to you first, Callan.
Yeah, so I can't lie. I'm sure there's live streams and videos of me saying how I was a little bit underwhelmed at the initial idea of Ryan Gravenberch, but I can't lie to you. I've just got to hold my hands up and say I've changed my mind. What is the point in a mind if you can't change it? And so it was actually after a conversation with you, Uncle Rodz, and you was excited about the potential of signing him. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give him a chance, and I'm going to have a quick look, deep dive into him and see what he's all about. And watching him, the highlights are always brilliant, aren't they? That's why they're there. I think he can be a really useful player. And what blew my mind after just knowing that after knowing that he'd been around for so long and hearing his name for so long was that he's 21. That just blew my mind. I thought he'd be like 24 or something like that. The age is super healthy for what we're going towards. He's got experience playing for Ajax. He's been in a massive club like Bayern Munich as well. And so even though it didn't quite work out there, I think he's got all the tools now and he's got all the experience needed to go and realise this is his big shot now. He's playing for Liverpool in the Premier League. He's going to play a lot of football. And I think this is his time now. And it's time to really decide what kind of player he's going to be. So any player that's got that on their shoulders is an exciting one for me because they've got something to prove, not only to themselves, but to their new fans and to the people who doubted him before. So that can only be a healthy thing for us. And having that competition in midfield just to bolster the squad and the bench. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it now. Like I say, at first was a bit underwhelmed. But yeah, changed my mind. I'm excited to see him and can't wait for him to sign up tomorrow. In terms of the window, I think there's a little devil in me that's saying there's still a day left in this window. I'm not going to rate it. If it did finish tonight and he was the last signing, Oh, we've sorted the midfield issue, but I'd just love a centre half. I'd love someone to
Yeah.
just pluck out of anywhere tomorrow. I don't think it needs to be a big starting super centre half. I think what we have and the system we're playing at the minute is fine. And when Canate's back, it's rumoured to not be as bad as first feared. We've got Virgil when he comes back. Obviously, he might have a bit of a layoff with the red card, but the starting two are perfectly fine. And you know, with somebody else in that midfield, more legs, Matip and Gomez, they'll have to do a shift, won't they? It's not a case of they can't; they're going to have to. And so, if we don't sign one, I think it's been pretty good. If we get a centre half over the line, superb. The timing very questionable of all the deals. If we could have got them, if we could have got these four lads in the first couple of weeks, it would have been superb, and then we'd have had a lot of time to focus on a centre half. But the timing's a bit. That's what's hurt a few people, I think. Of how stretched it's been between. It almost looks a bit desperate when it gets later, doesn't it? You can't help but feel that. But in terms of the window, I'd give it a 6.5, 7. But you don't know because these players might be world beaters, and that midfield might be the best.
Yeah, there you go.
Three in the world. So I don't know. I'll go provisional 7. I'll go with, and I'm happy. So yeah.
Before I come to yeah, we have to be. Before I come to 12, man, it's like, you know, Stefan has put like a comment here, and he said like if before window someone told me we'd get Alex, Sabozalai, and Gravenberch, I'll be like delighted. So that's what I'm trying to say. So there is kind of like, you know, when you look at the situation of the midfield, and we have got youth and we have got energy in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have been on the way of changing up. Now, if in January now, at the end of the day, we can add Andre to that mix. Ooh.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Take it away, 12 man. Take it away, sir.
So, all right. So let me make sure I have all the components of it. You want me to
components, you know?
Rate the window.
No, what I'm trying to say, do you, like, you know, your thoughts on us signing sort of like Ryan Gravenberch? That's number one.
Right.
Number two, how do you rate the window, this transfer window? Yeah, those were the two questions.
So I know that I'll take the last first. So I rate this window as a positive window. Because getting Dom was humongous. Getting McAllister for what we got him for was incredible. But to get Dom and McAllister, that was something of like, I was really optimistic with our pursuit of silverware with those two really, really confident and powerful players being added to this list. Primarily because I thought we had a strong squad last year. We just couldn't bring fitness into a real forefront for our team. So bringing in two players that, knock on wood, tend to be fit and be able to, you know, bring excellent talents to the pitch. I was very optimistic considering that the players that we were missing last year, if they could have been healthy, they could have helped us most likely, you know, get a few more points tallied up. So I'm optimistic and I'm very, very happy with what we've gotten so far. Getting those two, I would have been happy, but getting more of the players and everything else, and dealing with how we're having to deal with Saudi Arabia, you know, doing this whole raid on the league, dealing with obviously players being able to, you know, move on, some players going out on loan. It's very, very interesting to see how it is. And also, I mean, there's some conspiracy theories involved in there too, but I'm not going to go into that right now. And then, and it's regarding this transfer, I'm happy about it. I'm definitely happy about it because I would like to be able to get some type of positive reaction from our fan base. It seems our fan base is very, very looking for this kind of addition to our club. This player is obviously a well thought of and potentially budding star. Just hasn't really been given the opportunity in Germany, which often happens when you play for Bayern Munich. You know, you're either into the lineup or you're really just, you know, wallowing on the bench. And I think that it's going to be interesting because now where do we go with this addition? See, a lot of people talk about, you know, utilizing him in a double pivot. I've seen people talk about him being possibly just transformed into a 6, because realistically we were looking at a 6. We're looking for another 6, and we're looking for another possibly another center back. But this player doesn't play really either of those positions, so it should be a very interesting concept as to what Klopp will do with this player. Because if you haven't noticed, Klopp has a habit of changing players to fit into the system, and not only that, he has a habit of making greatness out of these players. Yeah, he's on his way. Yeah, I saw that too.
They're tracking the plane, aren't they?
I think the tweet I saw by David Ornstein was basically saying that he's going to be on the plane, that he's all the little things that you got to get done with the agreement have been completed. So looks like we got a player. I know I'm not going to say that, considering our track record so far. I'm not going to say it until I see him like popping the kit. But yeah, I'm optimistic.
And even then, you can't be too sure.
For sure.
You know what I mean? No, to me at the end of the day, so like I welcome the signing of Ryan Gravenberch. I mean, I want him at the club for a long time. Mm-hmm. And with me,
okay, guys, put one more caveat in that.
Go for it.
The other thing is this: look, with Gravenberch, with whoever we get, as long as we were just saying, you know, until they actually pop the kit and get onto the field, possibly, or come and walk out those doors wearing the kit. Look, as soon as he puts on that kit, I'm hoping for a success. I'm hoping for everything to be positive for him, for his contribution to be, you know, obviously great for our club and helping us push along towards, like, you know, like I said, like Tribe Called Quest, towards silverware. So as long as you're wearing that red kit and you're now a Red, hey, I'm fully backing you. I'm going to definitely be optimistic with what we can see from the success and everything else. And hey, you know, up the Reds with you.
Chris Angel's got this message for you. You know,
what is this?
I'll let you read it out. I'll let you read it out, 12th man. I'll let you read it out.
I heard my Colombian brother at Liverpool 12th man snap on someone I ever thought it could happen. I never thought it could happen. I'm Mr. Positivity. He's talking. Let me say this. He's talking about the fact that there were some Newcastle, there's some Newcastle people talking, and I think there were a couple of guests, and I started kind of like going off a little bit on the Newcastle like love affair, as if, you know, because we were a little bit too chummy. And I said, hey, I'm positive about the Reds. All our rivals, that's a whole different story. That's all I was saying.
You know something right with me. My thoughts on it is that I've always wanted Gravenberch on the team. I ain't gonna lie, I haven't hid my passion for a player like Gravenberch, because I think what it is with Gravenberch, he's young and he's hungry, and that's what you want in your team. You want young and hungry players at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I know at the end of the day, see what it is at the end of the day. The difference at the end of the day, sort of like between your Ten Hag and your Klopp, is at the end of the day, is Klopp has got a proven track record of improving players. Even when he's bought players at the end of the day that don't specifically play in that position, he has got a track record of improving them to world-class status. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah? Right?
Yeah.
Ten Hag hasn't got that in his locker so far. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. When you look at Ten Hag in the day, he was like, he was Pep's number 2 at Bayern Munich. And then, you know, he got his job at Ajax in the day. Wait, you know, he done well. He had a young crop of players like De Ligt and, you know what I mean, even Gravenberch
that
was
was
there.
A great squad, that wasn't it? semi-final squad against Spurs.
Yeah.
That was some team. That
was
what
a
a team.
squad. That Neves that went to a Brazilian that went to Atletico Madrid. They had Anthony, didn't they? That Anthony,
Yeah.
Martinez. They had a side. They really had a great side. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, then what happens and the more popular you get, right? Other teams around Europe will just pick the bones off you. They just pick the bones off you in that, yeah. But so you had that successful team. But you see what it was with Klopp at the end of the day. Not only was he successful at the end of the day with Dortmund, a lot of people don't realize at the end of the day he was just successful at the end of the day with Mainz. Mainz is the whole reason why they're in the Bundesliga now. It was down to Klopp. Do you know what I mean? Putting a philosophy in there that wasn't changing it for them, and they've been able to stay in the Bundesliga. All right, they may not have won anything, but they've been able to stay in the Bundesliga. They're not languishing around Bundesliga 2 and so forth. So he's done it there, and he's done it to Dortmund, and he's done it at Liverpool. So that's always going to be the attraction for a young player to look up to a manager like that. I think you know what? If I go to this club now, and I think that right, not only would I get game time, but my career would improve vastly. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the reasons why Ryan Gravenberch decided to come to Liverpool. And I welcome it because he's 21 years old. He's hungry and he just wants to play football. And something like that, and if you can fit him around the team, because I always say this, right? What people got to realize at the day, right? We've got a lot of games to play this season. I want people to know this, We have got a lot of games to play this season. We have got UEFA Cup, Europa Cup, and I would like to win that. I would really like to win that tournament. You know what I mean? We got the Europa Cup. We have got a league in the day where we want to finish it in the at least in the top 4. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So we got that. Then we got the League Cup. Then you know what I mean. Then we got the FA Cup because we got Leicester on the 25th of September. I might try and go to that game actually as well. I might try and get tickets for that. I might try. Yeah. I might try and go because I haven't been for a while myself. Do you know what I mean? So I might try and go. I might try and get there with my little brother. Do you know what I mean?
I was happy to see us get the home draw actually out of that game. Yes. But you know what I mean? It's just like you got a platitude of you got a lot of games to play this season. It's not going to be any joke in that, right? So if we can get sort of like a player in of his age in the day, right? As I said, hungry and versatile as well. I welcome that to the team, and I think it's look. At the end of the day, you rather say at the end of the day now, and the day is obviously 50%, and the day sort of like he's a Liverpool player, 50%, because obviously at the end of the day, the full 100 will come at the day when he signs on the dotted line, shows a t-shirt, say, yeah, you know what, I'm a Liverpool player. Do you know what I'm saying? But you know what? I'm gonna go out and say he's a Liverpool player, and as a Liverpool player, I will support him till he's not a Liverpool player. Absolutely.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I will support him until he's not a Liverpool player. You know what I mean? He's gonna get my full support. Do you know what I mean? So, but what I do find that what I do find over the last couple of days and stuff, I do find this negativity at the end of the day to sort of like towards Klopp and towards FSG because they've taken so long to get this deal done, and they're just bringing in Ryan Gravenberch. Because there's a side of the fan base that doesn't really rate Ryan Gravenberch. I'm saying to them at the end of the day, right? Wait. Just wait, and this guy will show you what he can do. Do you know what I mean? Look at Nunes and that. Look how much people was calling for Nunes said. And look what he did on Sunday. Look what he did on Sunday. There's so many people at the day have had to go and eat their words today because what he done on Sunday. Do you know what I mean? Yeah? And what he done on Sunday was remarkable. Do you know what I mean? But I've always backed Nunes. 12 man's always backed Nunes. I know you've always backed Nunes, Callan. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's so many players.
You always get the faith.
There's so many players you could add to that list as well of players that it is a concerning, very concerning characteristic that we see being presented by a lot of our fan base, especially when we see a lot of our legends, a lot of our club icons, or our heroes on the pitch here that end up going through every player's going to go through rough patches or go through periods where they might struggle to find their form, just plain and simple. And yet, if anything, during those moments are the times and moments where you have to continue to place emphasis on saying, hey, we believe in you, get that positivity behind
even more.
Yeah, even more so. And that's because you can always love someone when you're winning, but it's an even bigger testament to love someone when you're not winning, and that's something that I've always attributed to this fan base, something that I try to carry on, something I try to pass on to others amongst our fan base. But realistically, a lot of the players I'm saying that you could add to that list of players that have fallen out of favor. There's times when people are saying the same about Mane, and then he goes to AFCON, comes back and tears up the league. People are saying the same thing about Hatta. Yatta was at one point, people are saying, oh, he's too injury prone, or he's not on pitch, or he's terrible, or this or that. He can't find. There was I think a year or something before a year that he hadn't scored a goal, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, he's got to go, he's done, he's dusted. But then when he started scoring, all of a sudden everyone came out pulled their Hatta jerseys out and started donning them again. It's just a matter of a lot of these players you have to give chances to. Darwin, again, like you said earlier, a player that had a lot of unfortunate and I think unnecessary concentration on his play compared to Haaland, coming on, expectations, I should say, put onto his play compared to Haaland, just because he was a big name signing striker, but realistically, you just got to give him a chance. He was deemed as being a long-term project, and I think there's so much promise in him. So let's focus on the promise. Let's focus on the fact that our energy and our support are usually the concepts that get that player over the line sometimes, because they feel like this is the place for them, as opposed to maybe I need to go someplace else to do this.
Yeah, facts. Facts. To be honest today, you just got to get behind the players, man. Because listen, at the day, right? Listen, people at the day are quick to say this and that about Klopp and stuff. You know what I mean, and stuff. Yes, at the day he's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I make mistakes. Do you know what I mean? Everybody makes mistakes. But I can honestly say in the day Klopp's got more right than what he's got wrong. Do you know what I mean? And Klopp at the day will not bring in a player like a Gambach, even Endo, they wouldn't bring in players like that if they're useless and they can't, they can't do nothing. He's seen something in these players and said that, you're going to be a good fit for Liverpool.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Even Darwin Núñez and a he's looked at Darwin. People got to realize that today. It's not just the other day that he's looked at Darwin Núñez. He's been looking at Darwin Núñez for time. He's been looking for ages and that. And he said that look, this guy at the day, right, could do something for Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? People just got to give him a chance. I find out as fans, fans can be very impatient. You know what I mean? If you're not coming in the day and whacking up these big numbers as such, you know what I mean? It's well, you're useless. And people got to remember, right? In his first season, he scored 15 goals last season.
Yeah, he got a few assists as well. It's fine. The only problem was Haaland, wasn't it? Haaland did what Haaland did, and then that makes everyone else look average, doesn't it? And that's the issue. If Haaland had similar season, be looking forward to this season now, saying, it's going to happen. That K-Mac, big up everyone. LFC for the baby. Klopp in.
He's just such a.
He's being naughty there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's who's the one for the quad? He's going to big up everyone NFC for was it for the baby quad? Baby quad, You know what I mean?
like it. I like it.
K-Mac in the building. Big up K-Mac. Make sure you like and subscribe to K-Mac's channel. Make sure you do that. He said Liverpool's 12th man Klopp has his men. Let him cook. Yeah, make him cook, yes. Doing that.
Like if there's anyone that's said, hey, I'll allow Klopp to get in the kitchen and do his thing, it's been me. So come on.
Naughty.
Because I thought that was it. Stefano goes, I'll be through the Joe Allen, Charlie Adam days. Ooh, there was a bit peak. That was peak. That was peak, man. That was peak. I'm delighted to see all these talented players play now. Our squad is filled with talent. That's true. That is very true. Do you know what I mean? Listen at the day, you know.
He actually gives the list of players to kind of get a visual on what he's trying to say too.
Yeah. I'll come to that eventually, but if you look at it in a day, sort of like, would you say in a day, sort of like, you know, that Klopp is brought in some good talent? Obviously, he's let a lot of players go. But would you say at the end of the day he's brought in some good talent, Callan?
Yeah. Hey, if I saw a picture before on Twitter, I'll have to get it in the chat in a bit. And it showed, you know, like a silhouetted version of Milner, Henderson, Fabinho, players that have moved on, and the players that have come in. And you know, we've seen three of them already, and we've just signed a new one. Do you know what I mean? That is a serious upgrade. It is a big upgrade. I completely agree that the style of play that we was playing and the style of play that it looks like we're heading towards at the moment, without the Gravenberch signing, Endo looks really exposed. Of course he does. But surely the signing of Ryan Gravenberch says, it's got to say, Szoboszlai's in at a 10 and the other two are behind helping out. Surely. Because, especially if that's going to, obviously, Thiago can play in the role himself. Bajcetic can do the same. But if those three are on the pitch, I know, I
like this one. Sorry, carry on.
If those three new boys are on the pitch, if they're on the pitch, then you'd imagine that it's the double, isn't it? And Szoboszlai at the top of the arrow in the 10, and it I think that'd work. So it's. Listen, there'll be a plan. Something like it'll work. I think it's really refreshing, as Stefano rightly says. There's a lot of talent been brought into the squad this summer, and that's what we wanted. Might not be the exact players that we want. And like I say, I'm going to keep saying it all night till this stream ends. We got a day left. Anything can happen.
There you go.
And we've got one non-homegrown, haven't we? If we don't go for Andre, so who knows? Who knows?
I was going to say.
There you go.
I think by the way, I think we might have to put it. We might have to alert K-Mac in the WhatsApp that someone might have hacked. I think someone's hacked.
I think someone's hacked his account, mate. I think something's happened to the cat. That's a bit too positive for K-Mac, pal.
Could you imagine if he called in and then he comes on the screen and he's just like not moving and you can just hear his voice like AI? Like, shit.
Listen, you know what? I forgot what I was going to say there. We laugh. Listen, I mean, to be honest, at the day, so like when you look at what's gone out, you know what I mean? It's always a good sign at the day of like bringing in these players, and then because even Szoboszlai and day was one of the guys at the day that sort of like was a lot of teams at the day was after him. A lot of teams were after Szoboszlai's signature. Do you know what I mean? And even like Mac 10, you got Mac 10 in, yeah. A lot of people was after him as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think as well. I also think as well. This is what I think as well. I think that they might not bother getting a centre back because of Joel Kwanzaa.
Jarell Kwanzaa.
Yeah. How do you say his name? Is it Kwanzaa?
Jarell Kwanzaa, yeah.
It's Kwanzaa.
Yeah. I don't think at the end of the day that and they get a
Sounds
defender
like Kwanzaa,
because yeah. Because of the and I did say, contrary to what you said, 12 man, and okay, you tried to star me up the other day, right? I did say it the day he was a good player. I did rate
yeah,
him.
I know you did. I only referenced that because I know you said
You wanted me up in
because he was going out on loan, and I said I don't think Klopp would have mentioned his name if he was going out on loan the way that he was.
No, because sorry to cut across you. Sorry to cut across. There was talk of him going out alone. There was talk, but I think what happened and because Kanate didn't play in that game on Sunday, did he?
I don't think
Kanate didn't play, did he?
No,
Kanate didn't play. Matic played instead. So prior to that, there was talk of him going out on loan. But I think what happened at the day, right, is that when Kanate got injured, they decided not to kind of like send him out alone because I think that's something they might need him because it still wasn't
Van
convinced.
Dijk as well. You don't know how long he's going to be out as well, Van Dijk. Could be 5 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. And plus as well, even when he came on Sunday and everything, I said that, Nate, look, at the end of the day, so like in the pre-season that he done well in the pre-season, he done very well. You know what I mean? So that probably they turned Klopp's mind a bit. Do you know what I mean? Like to say, right, you know what? Then let's get him out alone so he can get first team football. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. So
there was talk about him going to the championship. But as I said, that what happened at the day, they backtracked, and then when Kanate got injured, they think so. Well, we probably need to use this guy. So what he was in the squad at the day for Sunday, and they used him. And it was like very, very happy with him because he came in that game on Newcastle, and he did not look out of place. He did very well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So they're thinking that look, you know what? We can save some money here, and keep this player, just bring him through. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not scared. He's not nervous. He knows what to do. So they probably will use him. You know what I mean? I'm not to say that they might not look at a centre back, but if they don't get a centre back, getting a centre back won't be their top priority like it was. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think if one comes available at a reasonable price, yeah, that FSG they say, all right, then yeah, we'll get him. But if it's not, and then they got the club haggling and umming and ahhing and that, they just won't bother. They just carry him with Gerald. Do you know what I mean? Because he's good.
He's a good player. That's the reason why I was saying, I know that people were very, very, focused on a lot of these players, a lot of the positions or a lot of the spots that we have on this club that people are saying, oh, we need this player or we need this player to fill this gap or fill that hole. And I was stressing, at least my portion, my perception was that I'm really high on our academy players, our youth players. I've been told that, that we don't have a youth academy, that we don't have really any promise of players that are going to be, coming up in the ranks. And I was on the other end of it saying, I'm really, really, really optimistic for a lot of the players that we have on this team. I'm really, really hopeful, if anything, seeing the fact that a lot of these players has been a seamless style of integration when it comes to putting these players into the team, into the first team, and seeing how well how well and adjusted they are to be able to play with these players, to play at this level. Yeah. So it's a really, you could go through a lot of the players, even some of the players that we do have going out on loan or that have not your Clarks or your Tyler Mortons. Those kind of players are really, really promising and good players that are just, on the cusp of doing great things. And then you get into your Dokes or your Kwanzas, who I said I was really big on Kwanzaa, considering that he's the youth academy captain. He's got he's definitely got the build. The difference between him and, for instance, Reese was that he has actual he actually looks like he could maintain like, you know, being a physical presence in the middle. Those are very promising things to me. So, yeah, you know, the future looks bright.
He's apparently in a day he's player in a day that's been with the club since he's 5 years old from Warrington. Do you know what I mean? So he's been with a
Big
how old is he now?
Warrington.
19 or 20?
I don't
Yeah.
think is he 20? Yeah, I didn't know he came from Warrington. Saves me that.
Yeah. He's from Warrington, and he's actually been with the club sort of like for like since he's 5 years old. So he's been with the club for a minute. Do you know what I mean? You know.
Yeah,
So
he's 20 years old.
yeah, so he's been with. You might say he's been with the club and they from 15 years old. Do you know what I mean? So he probably knows everything that needs to be known about the club. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, and this is the thing. We never know what we've got at the end of the day, right? Until at the end of the day, you got pre-season or you get those like League Cup games where you get like a lower league team, or FA Cup games where you get a lower league team, and then they bring out these players and they start playing for. Wow, I never know we had that sort of player in the academy. Do you know what I mean? It's like that guy, one of the guys we sold to Wolves in the day was a Dutchman, and he was a right back. Now he was quality. He was quality. Didn't get much game time at that Wolves and that. I don't even know what happened to him. But when he was in Liverpool, you know what I mean, he was quality. And that was part of sort of like, you know, the deal that, you know, obviously to get the deal and they to get obviously Jota across to us. Do you know what I mean? You know, so we have got some exciting kids in the academy. Do you know what I mean? And we just bought two kids that we bought one from Wolves, and another guy from Leicester, 16. I think both of them are 16 or something like that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like you're right, Charles, man. When you look at the academy, you know, that's why I always try and then I want to try and get back my LFC TV account, yeah, so I can watch more of the academy. Do you know what I mean? Like the under 23, the under 18s, because we have got some guys in there and I think that right, and they're looking really, really good. Do you know what I mean? Because what Cup's done, and I think that right, he wants the conversion between the under 23s to the first team, right? He wants it sort of like as easy as possible. Do you know what I mean? So basically, in the day, like the same style of football, and then the first team are playing, right? What you'll get, and the under 23s are playing the same style, and the under 18s are playing the style. So they know exactly what's required of them, and then if they ever get a call up to the first team. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why you look at Kwanzaa. He's so good in the ball because he really knows what's required in the day for me to be in a first team. It is quality. I think at the end of the day, sort of like our first team is quality. I put the sorry to cut across you, 12 man. I put the link in the chat. So if anybody feels that they want to come in and ask us a question whilst we're, you know, obviously talking, that they can feel free to do so. Do you know what I mean? So the link's in the chat at the moment. Okay, so if you want to come in and ask any of us a question, you can do so whenever you are ready. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to have your camera on. You know what I mean? I'm not going to force you to have your camera on. You know what I mean? But like, if you don't have your camera on, please be respectful and no funny pictures, please. Yeah. So what was you going to say, 12 man?
So there's a comment by Mark A that I'm hoping that he will bring up. I asked him for a little bit to elaborate more on it, but there's a comment that he made where he says that Liverpool 12 man says we just need to put in place smarter loan deals more consistently. And what I was going to, I think what he's commenting on is the fact of, is something that we actually debated one time as well, which is, you know, what do you allow for these players to go out on loan? I know, for instance, again, another player that people weren't exactly high on, Curtis Jones. At one point last year, there were people that were clamoring for him to go out on loan, for instance, you know, that he's obviously, you know, dealing with like the freak random injuries, but people were just starting to think that, oh, well, if we're ever going to see real development for him, he needs to go out on loan. And what I have come across as being my own personal philosophy, at least, and something that I've actually heard them say before as well regarding this club, which is when you do have a youth academy player, think about it this way. If you got to go to practice every day and line up, I understand, not playing in game day, but line up in practice or do the, do the practice matches against first team players like Mo Salah, like, or Hackbo, or like you're lining up and trying to score on Allison. I mean, if because you're as a sub or as a player or a youth player especially, if you're on the bench, you're the other side, you're the opposition side, the practice squad side that you're going up against when you're playing against the first team. So you're going to obviously gain knowledge and experience by going against these players. It's the same way as like, you could do a pickup game, for instance, and you could play against random pickup players, or you could play against the squad that knows the system, knows exactly what it is that you want to get involved in and be able to see the development of the players as they develop, as opposed to sending them out to, I don't know, Celtic, or sending them out to, some club, because those clubs also that you're sending those players out to tend to be leagues, no disrespect, but lesser leagues, if not, smaller or lower end clubs in bigger leagues, simply for the fact that those bigger names or those bigger clubs aren't going to be utilizing these players because they don't need those players. They have their own crop players to be able to go through. So when it comes to the loan situation and everything else, I'm not saying loans aren't good. They are. They can be prosperous, returns for us. However, there is real worth when you have a player that is just getting on the pitch, getting to in that room with Klopp, and Klopp is able to like really have his, all of his coaching guys and everything else really get an opportunity to develop these players at hand, in front of, like, at home, and makes a difference, in my opinion. And that's why I'm more on the side of, even though we have these players, I'd rather see them stay with the club than actually go out and go on loan, in my opinion.
Yeah, what's your feelings on it, Canal?
I don't know. I just was reading then the breaking news. Bobby Clark's on about going to Derby. The whole system, it's, I don't know. In terms of our academy, it's always been a questionable one, hasn't it? I've always felt like you don't often see them go and hit the massive heights, but it is healthy at the minute. Don't get me wrong, and pre-season shows that, doesn't it? And this pre-season just gone more than ever, I would say. It was really nice to see players that usually only really pop their heads up in pre-season and in the cup games. It was nice to see, check back on them and see how much progress they'd actually made. So it's all encouraging, isn't it? I think Bobby Clark should go on loan. I would like to see that, because I don't think, especially now with Gravenberch coming in, I don't think there's a place for him right now. Maybe a little run out in a cup game if we get someone, from a really low league in the FA Cup. But I think he needs to go out and play. Players like that. That is the superb thing about the loan system, is Harvey Elliott goes out and does absolute wonders. And for me, it does separate the players and what level they're going to be. I think I always feel like I'm too harsh on Tyler Morton, but a good friend of mine who is a Blackburn fan, do the podcast with him, he idolises Harvey Elliott, loves him to pieces. He spent a year at Blackburn and tore the roof off, and they absolutely adore him there. They always ask him to come back. Tyler Morton, not so much. And he, obviously watching Blackburn, who've been in the Championship for a while now and know that league inside out, he said to me, Tyler Morton can't hack it here, so he won't be able to hack it there. And I almost think he's got technicality. All the hard bits are there, but it's sort of the easy bits with him that I just think it's not there. It's the physicality and things that you can't really grow into. I don't know. I always feel like I'm too harsh on him because I think I want every player that comes to our academy to go on and take a place in the first team. That's the dream, isn't it? That's how the old days, that's what it was. But I think he's in a decent place. I like that we're making moves to trying to sign young players. So, yeah, I think we're healthy in that department and just want to see it continue, don't you? And for a couple more Trents to pop out over the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. I just think the low moves and then they make sense because I think and then they yes look I'm not going to doubt and then we've got a healthy academy. We have because we keep on churning out these players and they that do wonderful things. You know what I mean? Because look at that guy, Reece Williams. At the day when he come into the squad, he was atrocious. You know what I mean? We had to bring him back from Kidderminster Warriors or whatever the name is. We had to bring him up from there. It was atrocious, but then after a while, he started to get it. He started to get it, and he started to get better. He did get better towards the end of sort of like being brought in the first team and stuff. I think at the day, so when you got the academy, I think the loans at the day helps them be able to prove themselves. But it's all right playing in the academy and playing amongst your fellow peers and everything like that, and you're probably playing against sort of like other academies like your Blackburn, Bristol City, and so forth. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but you want to see what they're like at the day if they get first team football. If we have to call them up to the first team, so the only good way to do that, to me, I think at the day the loanship system at the day should be a kind of like better than what it is. I would like them to see. I've seen them go to. Someone's coming in. And Chris is coming in. I'm bringing him just now. I would like him to go out to a newly promoted team in the Premiership. Do you know what I mean? Go on loan with them. I like to see him get first team football in Germany, first team football in Portugal, Spain, Holland, and so forth. I like to see people get first team football and think that to see how they can cope. Because you look at Nat Phillips, one of the reasons why he's good, and I really rate the player Nat Phillips in there. Yeah, it's because he had 2 loans at Bundesliga clubs like Stuttgart. They liked him down there, and they especially liked him at the day at Borussia Mönchengladbach. You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, it's all right going to championships and teams and sort of like League One and so forth. But I don't think you really get to test yourself. You know what I mean? Much less than sort of like if you went to a first team like it's Premiership or Eredivisie, Ligue 1 and so forth. Right. So I'm going to bring in Chris Angel now. Quick, can he?
Oh, Chris Angel.
Sure. Yeah, he's there. He's here, man.
I also wanted just to say, what's up, Chris? I'll let Chris.
Hello, mate.
Yeah.
Hola, tu bien, amigo.
Muy bien.
So what did you want to say? Quick, tough man.
I just wanted to say too, though, one of the major sticking points, though, for me regarding this loan and everything else, because now I'm listening to Marquet's points, and Marquet's points are really spot on as well. It's really dependent upon the player and how that player really reacts to the development or reacts to the actual attention that he's going to be getting or playing time and such. Because realistically, it's great. We could send a player to the Rangers, or we could send a player to Celtic again, or whoever it is, Blackburn or whatever club it is. But yet we're also going to say, okay, now we want you to come back and play in this system. The system that if you're able to have a player understand every day, learning that system that we play, that's great. And that's well and good, because that's going to be beneficial to us. But if you're out learning someone else's system, or you're out learning different or being held in a different role, with another club because they need you to adjust to be in that role, that doesn't do us any good. That's my point of why I'm saying the home is important, because we can then adjust the player or mold the player into a player that we need, not necessarily the player that another club is trying to and be able to just get runs. It's not it's not. That's the point I'm trying to get across.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It makes sense. Chris, what are you saying to me, cuz?
Nah, man, how we doing, man? Just wanted to come on, show some love and stuff. I haven't been on here for a while,
I
so
know, it's been a minute.
yeah, man, been busy and stuff, you know. But how are we feeling about the Grammar signing? Everyone's happy about it.
I am feeling good. First off, I'd just like to ask you, how's the family? Is the family good?
Yeah, family's
Kids and
good.
everybody?
Yeah, everyone's good, man. Everyone's good.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Yeah, I mean, I can probably speak for most of us on the panel. But obviously, let them speak for themselves. But I am very happy. I welcome it. He's 21 years old. You know what I mean? So he's got youth in his side, and he's full about hunger and passion, and he just wants to kick on. He just wants to play football. Do you know what I mean? And I think he's a player, and they number one. Not only can he improve under Klopp immensely, right? I think at the end of the day he wants to improve as well. Do you know what I mean? And he wants to get the chance at the day to play with Klopp. Do you know what I mean? Because I was saying before, Ten Hag is Ten Hag at the end of the day, right?
Mm.
He's not known for doing what Klopp can do. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? So that's a kind of an attraction and that some of these young players will have when it comes to signing to Liverpool. They say, "Look, at the end of the day, right? I know this guy can improve my career." Do you know what I mean? You know, because he's done it so many times to all different players. So to me, at the end of the day, right, I welcome it. You know what I mean? I welcome it still. Do you know what I mean? And I think we transform that midfield because what we got now, we got McAllister, Argentinian. We got like a Dutchman as well in there, and we got a Japanese guy in there, and we got like a Hungarian guy in there still. Do you know what I mean? So we got a good mix in the day, and each one of those players in the day can offer us something different in the day in that midfield role. Do you know what I mean? So I welcome it. I think it's good.
Yeah. So what I was thinking too, like we brought in 4 midfielders. When you really sit there and think about it, we brought in 4 midfielders. A lot of us didn't think that was going to happen, but we did. So you have to give
True. Yeah,
you have
true.
to give you got to give flowers where it's due, right? Like I know we all have different opinions about the owner or the current structure at Liverpool, but technically it looks like our midfielder is good for the next 5 to 6 years in regards to age group, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still believe we do need a 6, but that also depends on what's our formation and what's our tactics going forward. If we're gonna go to 5 back or we're gonna like not play with a 6, I'm not sure. I'm not really a tactic guy, so that's up to Klopp for them to figure out. I know a lot of people have speculated in regards to like Gravenberch's attitude. It seems like he has a little attitude problem, but in my opinion, this is where Van Dijk earns his stripes as captain.
Yeah.
This is where you earn your stripes. So I don't really care about what he went through or his attitude problem from Bayern Munich. I don't really care about that. What matters is the here and now. So once he's part of Liverpool, Van Dijk needs to earn his stripes and give him a level head, and we move from there. You know. What I am a little concerned about is the fact that we have, for example, we have Thiago leaving in the summer for free. We have Matip leaving in the summer for free as well. And instead of being reactive, we should be proactive. And I think before the window shuts, I think we should get a defender in.
Yeah.
And have him embedded in the squad for a full year until Matip leaves on free instead of playing this catch-up. Because if we don't bring a center back in, for example, and we wait until the summer, then we have to replace Matip. And we have to replace, I guess I'm assuming, Nat Phillips as well. So instead of waiting, let's do something now.
Yeah,
That's my opinion on that regard.
No, in fact, I mean, obviously, I let the rest jump in, but like, I think that's why they're probably looking to bring in Andre. I think they're still looking to bring in Andre in January. Do you know what I mean?
Which is a great move for us.
Yeah, it's a great move because listen, I'm a Fluminense supporter now. You know what I mean? You know, a lot. Obviously, that is my second team. Fluminense is my second team because I've been watching Fluminense play and I've been watching this guy, and then they saw like Andre play, and he's very intelligent. He's
can't
very
be-
intelligent
you
in the
can't
way
be
that he.
man. You gotta be
Huh?
you gotta be against Fluminense because if anything, we want them to lose. If they lose, then
No, man. Listen,
it's more likely Andre's more likely to come to the team if they're not in the competition that they're in. So if they lose, then he comes to the team. So,
listen. You know what it is.
I don't want any hate from my Brazilian brethren.
I think it'll be
Listen.
January though, only so it'll be done by.
It's going to be. I think regardless of the day, it's going to be January because at the end of the day, they won the other day. They beat that team from Paraguay, and then they literally gave him a footballing lesson. I watched the game. They gave them a footballing lesson.
Yeah, they won.
Do you know what I mean? The likes of Andre. It was 2-0. They could. It was 3-1. It was 3-1. It was 3-1. It was 3-1. Yeah.
The second leg, right? The second leg was 3-1. The first game was 2-0.
No. The first game was 3. It was 3-1. I'm sure it was 3-1 last week. I'm sure it was 3-1.
No.
They played the second leg.
The first.
The second leg's today.
Yeah,
the second leg's today.
2-0.
Is it tonight? That yeah.
Yeah, the first leg was 2-0, if I'm correct.
Yeah. It might have. I thought it was 3. I thought it was 3-1. Cause I know they scored first.
He scored.
Was it?
He scored.
Yeah, he scored. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw.
Yeah. But it could have been more. It could have been. It could have been more when they played.
He's not exactly a big time scorer as well. I know that. I saw a very interesting interview on his youth, or the youth academy style coach, I guess you call him, for Fluminense, and he was really going in on how he always knew that this player had promise and everything else, but he was so really high on the fact that he was finally getting his flowers and he was starting to really show and bloom into the player that he always knew that he could become. So it's a promising story with Andre.
He started his career as a 9, and then he started his career as a 9. Then he went to a 10, then he went to an 8, then he went to a 6. So you have to be technically gifted, I think, to be able to play multiple positions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think what does help too as well is people don't talk about it, but the Fluminense coach, I think he's very gifted. Like the way he's rewriting the game right now in Brazil,
absolutely
is crazy. Like, I've never seen it in my life. Like the way the tactic.
Because Tim Vickery was on TalkSport. He lives in Brazil, doesn't he? And he was talking about the level tactically in Brazil these days isn't great. But he was talking about, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about the Fluminense coach, and he said he's really trying to reinvent the wheel over there and get a nicer style of football over there, which is really interesting, isn't it?
Especially to even touch on what you just said, I think he's being talked about to be the next Brazilian national coach at the current one because as we all know, we know Brazil as a samba-like team, right? Very, but over the years, it seems like they've lost their way. They've become more structured, and they don't play with freedom like they used to. So right now, there's a conflict.
European influence, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like exactly what Toffman said. So right now, they're trying to battle to either go and get Ancelotti, what apparently it's a pre-agreement or whatever, or go with the guy from Fluminense right now and stuff. So.
Oh, you're saying the Fluminense coach might be like not a stopgap, but he might be the coach that is the interim coach. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be interesting. That's going to be very interesting.
They got a guy. Sorry to cut across. They got a guy in the day on Fluminense. He's a Colombian winger, and he's just got a call up in the day to the Colombian national team.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? And is it Canal or something like that? I can't remember. I cannot remember his name, but he's so fast on the wing, and he's tricky as well. He just drives at you. I tell you something. I'm telling you, in the next year or so, European clubs are going to be looking at this guy. He is quality. He is quality in that. I've seen him play 2 times, yeah, and the 2 times I've seen him play, and he's very impressive in the way that he plays. You know what I mean? He literally just drive. You know, like he's like a Luis Diaz. He just drives at you.
Oh,
He
I
just
know
runs at you.
Arias.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, he's 25 though.
That's a great name for a fast winger. That
Arias.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I absolutely love that.
There's another kid that I think is a lot better, but he's a lot younger. He played for Millonarios. They just won the league title in Colombia. He's 18 years old. He killed it in the U20 World Cup, but he just got a move to France. I think Lens or something. I think it's called
Lons.
something like that. Yeah, and he's right.
Yeah.
He's there right now. So right now, Colombia right now doesn't look good as a nation footballing wise, but the youth, we might have a chance going forward later down the years. Because right now, Colombia right now no good.
But even your Colombian women team and everything that look good, you know, in pause.
Yeah, I was very well. Yeah, no, they look good too and stuff. But you know, footballing wise, they're okay as well.
Because you know they got that young teenager. They got that young teenager and everything that.
The place for
And she's a winger. She's a winger. She's a winger.
She
And she scored quite a few. Huh?
She plays for Madrid.
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, we have a young. So, her name is Linda.
18.
Caicedo. Yeah, Linda Caicedo. Yeah, she plays for Real
Yes,
Madrid.
yes, but she's bad. She did some trickery and everything that she scored that goal and everything that she just packed it top bin. I said, yes, man, yes, that's wicked.
Her story is beautiful too because she had cancer. She was fighting cancer and stuff. Yeah, like she fought it, and now she's like the first female Colombian to ever play for Real Madrid. So
wow,
it's a big deal. It's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful.
That's so cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Beautiful story. Yeah. So
she got bags of quality. She's
young too, man. Hopefully, we can do something in our nation because right now, man, I don't know, man. We're not looking too good in that department and stuff. So.
But everybody has their cycles, though, Chris. Everybody has their cycles of like.
Colombia never had a cycle, though. Sit there and really think about it. No. Like, let's be realistic. Like, when have Colombia ever been exceptional? Maybe 2014 World Cup.
Yeah.
And stuff. That was a beautiful time to watch Colombia, but we've never reached our pinnacle. I think a lot to do with a lot of like a lot of these countries have a lot of politics. You know what I mean? Like money, you know what I mean? Especially those South American countries, a lot of politics, a lot of play the most famous players instead of playing like the best players for the team. A lot of politics. So
if you watch, you've only got to watch films like Narco. Watch that, and you see kind of like some of the corruption that there was in sort of like with Colombian football. You know what I mean? You had kind of people and that was sort of like the local bad man around in the area that owned certain teams. You know what I mean and stuff, and so I totally agree. But like I think probably individually individually as a nation, of footballers you can say you've done well individually, but yes, I understand sort of like when you put it together, you kind of like, it's kind of like probably lacking. Sort of like, I do agree, but they still are beautiful to watch, though, don't you think?
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. I wanted to ask you guys a question. I don't know if you guys read the article. It's pretty much talking about. I don't know how to pronounce our sporting director's name, but I'm gonna say Smaka or whatever.
Yeah,
George Schmadtke.
All right. Apparently, he came out talking about the fact that he is the assistant sporting director.
Yeah.
And then Klopp is the sporting director.
The quotes don't look very good,
and it doesn't look really good. So I wanted to ask you guys because I think because I'm learning from my brother Toffman to be a little bit more positive and stuff, less negative. But I've come at him this summer in regards to like the deals, and now it looks like the fact that he's just helping Klopp, not really necessarily in control of the transfers or getting these players in. and it's all on Klopp. And I think we need to give a fair share of criticism to Klopp as well in that area. And because these are words from the man, pretty much saying that he's the assistant and stuff. He's not really the sporting director, pretty much. So, what do you guys think about that? I don't know if you guys read the
Yeah, it's a fair assessment to make.
Where can you find that too? By the way, Chris,
I can send you the article and stuff. I'll send to you on Twitter, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. It's not good reading in terms of the age-old argument between people that like to pile on Klopp a bit, which in a sense is completely fine. I have no issues. I was arguing in the chat before. I have no issues with people being Klopp out. It's more when people like yo-yo every 5 minutes. That was happened in that conversation, and then I got called a stupid idiot for it. So all good. But no, it was what it is for me. I understand criticism of Klopp, and before you read something like that, you have a leg to stand on, and then you read it and you think, Jesus, so this is all him. Really, that's what the article and what he says. Doesn't do Klopp any favors at all. I'd be very, very angry if I was Jurgen Klopp and I read that article, because even if fans put 2 and 2 together all the time and a lot of the time are right, you still don't really need that in the public domain. That should still be a mystery. That so I'd be really, really angry if I was Jurgen Klopp reading that, and I can't see him lasting past tomorrow, whenever his contract actually runs out.
But apparently, sorry to cut you off, but apparently I read that he has people confuse the fact that he's gone after the summer. Apparently, I read, according to what he's saying, he says he has a year contract.
Yeah, he said something about, isn't it a 3-month rolling thing or something?
Yeah, yes. So it's like 3 months. They're going to reevaluate what's the next step. But he has a contract for a year, so he's here until next year.
Yeah, it's tough with I don't know. It's a really sticky one, because I don't think, regardless of whether he's had expertise in the past, Jurgen Klopp shouldn't be in charge of that. I actually think just defending him all the time, and I know it sounds like it, but I don't think that the people who run the business of this football club should ever really trust anyone with that on their own, and to bring in their henchman who they've known, who was retired. I don't think you should ever trust a manager with that solely, ever. Even if he does a good job with it, I still think it's a risk not worth taking. We've gone from having the best sporting director potentially on earth, on par with Dan Ashworth, and better than Dan Ashworth, actually, in Michael Edwards. Julian Ward looked like he was just stepping into the shoes, massive shoes, but looked like he was stepping straight into them. Found the job really hard, found it tough to actually do a lot of deals, managed to get last season's summer window, which the less said in the majority, the better. This season, his final act was McAllister, which is brilliant, a really healthy deal that looks like it's going to help us massively, and it was a great bargain. But you've got to ask the question, why is there not a sporting director that is best of class at a club that are best of class? Well, in the conversation across Europe and the world. And they're out there. Of course, they're out there. And there's young budding ones that are hungry to become the next Michael Edwards, to become the next Dan Ashworth, that are there. We're dragging someone out of retirement. And that in itself, so this is where I do struggle, because I imagine anyone in the world would say, what, so I can pick all of the transfers for Liverpool this summer and I can literally build my own team? Yeah. Right, brilliant. Yeah, why would I say no to that? And no one in the world would ever say no to that. But it's neglectful in a sense, because if you have a conversation in a room with 3 or 4 or 5 people and they're bouncing ideas off each other, that's only healthy. That, and Jurgen can be talked out of some of the ideas that are quite questionable. So in terms of it, I think it's the article in itself stinks. I think he should be very angry with it, Jurgen. I would be if it was someone was saying that type of stuff about me, especially with the reaction from the fans to the transfer window. But at the same time, if we go out and get a centre-back tomorrow, which I don't think is likely, but still holding out hope. If that happens tomorrow, I think it's been a poorly timed, fantastic window. Yeah. So what can, you know what I mean? There's always sides to it.
So I completely agree with where you're coming from. I think I think my concern is the fact that I think signing a person for 3 months or whatever year, whatever type of contract this sporting director has, is it just shows some type of dysfunction from top to bottom at Liverpool, especially when I think the sporting director's sole job is to protect Liverpool's assets. I think assets in regards to their players. Um, and when you don't have someone competent in place to protect Liverpool's assets or bring in assets or sell its assets at the top level, I think Liverpool in itself loses value. And I think the sole purpose of a sporting director is to plan for the future of the club, right? I think managers, you can change. There's plenty of them, I think, out there to change. Obviously, some with different qualities or better than others or can win more than others. But I think a sporting director is very a competent one, a very good one. Is very hard to find. That has relationships with other clubs, that can build relationships with other clubs. So that's where I don't know. I kind of feel worried long term because Klopp leaves in 2 years, and
Yeah.
every manager has different visions, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
So I think a sporting director needs to be in place to kind of like, I don't know, have the footballing philosophy or I'm assuming, right, that the next manager is going to come in is going to play somehow a similar or close to style of what we've been playing at, just tweaked.
Right.
So I guess the profile player can be technically the same, but I don't know what you think on 12th man.
I can hear your concerns. I think what's unique about Liverpool is that we were one of the few first teams to really do this whole Moneyball concept by utilizing the sporting director being that position or that mindset of a person. That whole like Billy Bean style concept of analyzing more of the analytics of it all, the numbers and using these algorithms rather than using these people that are more like eye test merchants or the more traditional style of going to every corner of the globe and sitting and watching countless hours of football. But it's a delicate balance. I can understand also that we've had great results from that era of Edwards, in essence. But I don't see Jorge as that kind of sporting director. I think he's more of a traditional style sporting director. It seems, the kind that is involved in everyday style of, how do I get it? I go out like a scout in essence, to kind of like get those feels on these players, as opposed to worrying about going to my director of analytics, and getting those kinds of compilations of stats to figure out which players going to go forward, or which players we're going to go forward on. Right now, I can't comment on the article because I haven't read it. I'm interested to read it now.
I just sent it to you. I just sent it to you on Twitter.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I can understand what you're saying. I just know that every club is different. You could have a club like Chelsea that has, I don't know who their sporting director is. Some would argue that it's just boldly looking at Twitter. So you never know how and what you're going to be getting when it comes to the direction of the players, direction of your club with the players that they bring in. I know though that the people that keep saying, they don't want Klopp to have any hand in the choices of the people. I disagree with that on this one, at least this one point, and that is, I know if I had a chef and the chef kept telling me that he makes an incredible meal, incredible steak tartare, I don't know, something like that, right? And he knows exactly what components that he really wants and needs. If I'm the person that has to go do the shopping, that's cool, and I'm going to do the best shopping I can. But I'm also going to want him. I'm also going to want the chef to actually have an input in those ingredients. I'm not going to go and say, oh well, I think this ingredient's going to be great, and I'm going to bring it to you to make the most of it when you could have just gotten the ingredient that he needed and wanted from the very gate, you know, and it's that much less that he has to do with the development to make it into an exquisite meal for us. So I can understand that there are parts and points that you want to do, and there is going to be life after Klopp. I get that as well. But for right now, this is the life with Klopp. So I'm more concentrated on what we create and present with him here.
Okay. We've got about 15 minutes left of the show. 15 minutes left of the show. Some really interesting conversations that's been had. Do you know what I mean? That's been had. I've asked a question, and obviously, the Klopp's going to sort of like Klopp is going to leave in 2 years. Do you know what I mean? Got 2 years left.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Let's look in the situation of the day that let's say he does leave. Do you know what I mean? Because that is a plan, but hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he has a leap of faith and says, "No, man, I ain't going nowhere." He loves it too much. Yeah.
We gotta make a better song.
Who would you like to see come in to replace Klopp? Because obviously you can have to replace. Who would you like to see come in to replace him? Would you like to sort of like Pep Linders to get a job?
No.
Or B, something totally different? Come to Canal first. Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, it's got to be. No, not Pep. It's got to be a clean break. I think. Nothing again. I don't hate. I know a lot of people have their views and really don't like him, but I just think it's got to be a clean break for a special manager that's done special things. You need to say goodbye, God bless, thank you very much, and move on. As in terms of personnel, the name, I don't know. I think it's got to be another project manager that feels the club and gets the club, because the only way we succeed is when we're all properly on side, and a manager that can do that's out there. I struggle right now. I think when we get our heads around it a little bit more, I think it'll be a lot easier to decide, and a manager will come out. But if the maddest thing ever happened tomorrow and he left tomorrow, then I'd just say Xabi Alonso, just because I don't know. I don't even know his style of play that well, but yeah.
Apparently he's doing very well at Leverkusen. He's doing well at Leverkusen, and that probably would be a good choice because he knows the club, because he used to play for the club. Same question to you, Chris. What would you be saying?
Honestly, I don't know, because you don't know what happens in 2 years, right? 2 years, a new upcoming manager could be doing a madness in 2 years, and we want him. So to say it now, I'm not sure. I would say Alonso, yeah, Xabi Alonso. You know, like I think he's mentioned it too. Like his love for Liverpool is up there. Like in compared to Real Madrid, he really felt the fans. You know what I mean? He really has a special feeling for Liverpool. And I know 12 Man's all about feelings and stuff. So yeah, why not? You know, bring someone back of your own. But we'll see what he does in the next 2 years. To be honest, hopefully he wins something, either a cup or something. You have to. I think Liverpool aren't the Liverpool of 10, 12 years ago. You have to come with some type of winning experience, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens. So.
What about you, Tough Man? What are you saying?
I all due respect to Xabi Alonso, and but if you think that, I know I'm looking at the chat. If people think that Bayern Munich, someone is going to break the 12-year streak or whatever. I know all streaks come to an end, but you know that Xabi Alonso is going to be the one front that does it. Good luck to you. That's a. I know some call me a dreamer, but that's definitely some dreams. And you know what's funny about it is that I think honestly you might see Gerard actually get
no.
I'm just saying you might see. Let me just finish the comment. you might see him get a title before Xabi Alonso gets a title. That's what I was going to say. I think that Gerard has more of a shot of winning in Saudi Arabia than Xabi Alonso has winning in Germany. That's all I was trying to get. But
no, like, you know what? Xabi Alonso, I would like to see him literally like win a domestic cup, because I know probably in the day, sort of, as you said, 12 man, winning the sort of like the Bundesliga title is going to be sort of like, it's going to be a hard thing to do, because obviously Bayern Munich has got that hold on, on that the Bundesliga ever since sort of like Klopp was the only one that kind of like in the last 12 years that broke that sort of like Bayern Munich hold up. Do you know what I mean? So it can be very hard for him to do that. So I think a domestic cup, if he really gets a domestic cup or two, you know what I mean, that could probably sort of like be something in there that he can come to Liverpool with, and seeing as he does know Liverpool as well. Do you know what I mean? I probably think it's better to have something.
Why people like, I get that people don't like Pep, for whatever reasons that they want to say, but realistically, if he is involved in so much of the development, so much of the direction of the club, if he is every year taking on more and more responsibilities for this club and everything else, it doesn't. It's and you have a great coach in itself, Klopp, trying to give him all the coaching experience that he has and passing it on to Pep. I don't see why people are so anti-Pep. I'm not saying that he's my first choice per se, in that I'm on the team Pep board or something like that, but it's just more so I'd be open to it in that sense of it could make sense. That's all I'm trying to get across. It's because a lot of the players that we rave about, are players that Pep brought in, or Pep was championed to bring in. Whether you look at a lot of the players, and a lot of the players that ended up doing well, even that might not even be a part of the team any longer, but were brought in and have done well, were initially people that Pep said that he really wanted to bring in.
Cody Gakpo was one of them, isn't it?
The most notable one is that he gets clipped up for it, but the Cody Gakpo reference of him being a real key player to bring in. A lot of people are like, really putting up question marks when they heard that name, and they were calling out. They were making it as if just because Pep said it, then that made it like less likely of being reality, and it ends up being he was right. So I like to give people credit for where credit's due.
Yeah.
No, you have to. I see. I'm a sort of person that, listen, I will criticize you at the end of the day, sort of like, if you're doing bad, but I will also praise you when you're doing good. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So, I will criticize Pep at the day for some of the things that he's done, but I'll also praise him for some of the things he's done.
Isn't real quick? Isn't also the year we did the double too, especially, doesn't Pep coaches the team in our cup teams primarily?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Realistically, we're talking about. We just talked about if Xabi Alonso wins a cup in Germany. Okay. Yeah. We have a coach that has coached us to a double.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say today,
he left us for NEC and had a horrific spell there, though. To be fair,
I get that he had a horrific, but I mean, sometimes, you learn when you. It's not about your mistakes; it's more about how you respond to your mistakes. For me, as in.
But you know what it is, though. It's 12 man. I probably. When you look at it, I know obviously he done amazing work in the double and that, but he's not going to get the credit for that. It's going to be Klopp.
I'm willing to give him credit. I'm willing.
I know at the day there'll be individuals at the day we're willing to give him credit. Don't get me wrong, but when you look at the bigger picture, people can say, "Well, Klopp did that." They're not going to really mention Pep. You know what I mean? Which I don't get me wrong. At the day, I don't think it's fair. Do you know what I mean? I think he needs to sort of like get sort of like praise for the work he's done, but because at the end of the day they see Klopp as a manager, the first person they'll be going to praise will be Klopp. They won't be going to like Pep and saying, "Well, Pep, well done." Do you understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the manager is your first point of call. Do you know what I mean? As we like, if anything goes wrong in the team, they're not going to go to Pep. They're going to go to Klopp. Do you know what I mean? And Pep and they might have coached that Pacific style, and that Pacific style. Because what happened? I remember what happened when Benitez was there, when he had his number two. I can't remember the guy's name now, but anyway, he was good. But what it wasn't there, this number two wanted more power at the end of the day. And what Benitez was looking at, the fact that, well, look, if I give you more power and then if it goes wrong, it's my head. Do you know what I mean? They're coming for me. They're not coming for you. Do you know what I mean? And so that's when they sort of like fell out.
It's not to cut across you, but I was just going to say real quick, isn't that, just to hear more reference from you, isn't that the same thing that Klopp dealt with initially with the first coach, the first assistant coach? I'm going to go blank on his name for some reason.
Brovich or something like that.
Brovich, right? And I mean, there's been a lot of that got ugly real quick for some reason. He
was good as well.
Huh?
He was good as well. He was good. He was a good number two.
Certainly was. I mean, like, I think if anything, I think Klopp learned a little bit by a lot of the leeway and a lot of the allowing for Pep to go out there, write a book, take on interviews, do kind of stuff. Like, not many people really get to see the assistant coach as prominent of a character as we do with Pep. However, one of the main reasons, or one of the factors in the leaving of Brovich, was because he wasn't getting the acclaim. He wasn't getting, like, in his mind, a lot of the praise and attention that he thought that he brought to the club by, orchestrating a lot of what, he did for the club. And, you could say what you want about Pep, but I mean, Klopp is allowing for that to happen. And it's why you have a happy, from what it seems like, a happy locker room when it comes to the coaches.
Okay, so carry on. So you can have the last word, Canal.
Yeah, I think I can't.
Chris, sorry.
Yeah, I can't support
Canal again, man.
I can't support Pep taking over, because I think also when you really look at it, we're looking at like human psychology or basic human psychology. I think when you have the same person in your ear for so long and the message becomes repetitive, you get tired of it.
Yeah.
So if Klopp leaves, he has to take his team with him, and that's it. And you just need a fresh start. That's just the way I see it. Pep's been there, not as long as Klopp's been there, but he's been there for a while. And after a while, players need a new message. They need a new face. They need to come to training to someone new. It's just just basic human nature, I think.
Can I just say, Krista, real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I understand your point, but I also understand the fact that, or at least my perception of it is that the message only gets tired when the message isn't ending up in results. If you are winning, then obviously the message is resonating. But also, if you're winning, how are you going to go against that?
True.
Like, as in, I'm sure there are plenty of people that might not have loved Sir Alex, or there's plenty of people that might not have, that might not like Ancelotti, for instance, but maybe the message is getting tired for them hearing those great coaches speak. But if you're getting results, hey, winning changes everyone's attitude.
That is true too. It has to be a balance between winning and then being able to change players so the message becomes repetitive to certain players. You know what I mean? So it has to be a balance. So I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say to finish that is with Alex Ferguson, what you realize that he changed his number two often. Once it was like that Carlos Cruz, the Portuguese guy. Then it was the guy that
Steve
went to
McLaren
Holland.
Was in there as well, wasn't he?
Steve McLaren, McFarlane, and I mean he constantly changed sort of like his number two, so there was getting different messages and different tactics. Do you know what I mean? That's why certain times you can tell it. And when Carlos Cruz was in number two, because the football was more free flowing. Do you know what I mean? When Steve McCallum was there, you can see it. It was more defensive. Do you know what I mean? So he did change it a lot. That's why he was able to sort of like prolong sort of like his longevity, because he did change certain things along his journey. So what I'll do is I'm going to give Canal the last word of the night, because we are finishing up. So Canal, your last word of the night, my friend.
My last word of the night. Good show as always, boys. Pleasure as always. Ryan Gravenberch is here. I just read actually that his plane has been cancelled tonight and it's going tomorrow instead, which is very scary. But it says that the deal is in no thing of collapsing, so no panic. But yeah, great show as always. Thanks.
Taboli bought the pilot. That's what it was.
Started talking about stuff.
You can imagine, couldn't you? He's on the plane and then out of the toilet cubicle, out comes. Oh no, you don't, son.
Get to Stamford Bridge.
That's the last word. Right. They're the last words. Good show as always, bud.
Yeah. Listen, tell everybody where they can find you, Cal.
Yes, you can find me at Cal and Nickel on YouTube. Just my name, just there. Subscribe and to all of our channels if you haven't already, and give us a like on the videos. I am going to get my Jim White yellow tie on, and I'm going to do Deadline Day tomorrow. I've never done it before, obviously, on YouTube, so I'm going to do Deadline Day. So as soon as I finish work, I'm going to get in the shower, I'm going to get changed, I'm going to put something yellow on, I'll find something. And we're going to enjoy it.
I can't watch it because I'm working tomorrow evening at Luton Town Football Ground. It's Luton versus West Ham. Yeah, so I'm working at there.
Isn't it the first game in Kenilworth? Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of them ones. First game since obviously from years back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They've completed the new stand now, so they're being away in and stuff. I did a job there the other night with Gillingham. Gillingham come down. Do you know what I mean and stuff? So I won't be to watch any shows tomorrow evening because I'll be working from 5 to 10. But I will watch it on a replay. I will definitely watch it on a replay.
Yeah. So on my channel, Cal and Nickel, and I'll be live Deadline Day. I don't know a time. When I'm finished with work and I've showered and ready, get on the live stream and we'll smash out all the transfers as they happen. So cheers, guys. I've really got to shoot off, but thanks again for an amazing show, and I will see you all later. See you next week. See you guys.
Take care. Thank you very much, my friend. Chris, and then thank you for coming on the show this evening. Always love when you come on. Great company, my friend. You know what I mean?
Chris, before you, definitely check the private chat. I'm gonna send you a message too, because for some reason I can't send a message to you on Twitter. Just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Liverpool 12 man. Can you let me know? Sorry, Liverpool 12 man. Can you let the people know where they can find you and what you got coming up next, my friend?
Okay, so I have coming up next is we're going to do the draw for Europa. That's going to be pretty big to see who we end up getting in our group, and see how the groups measure up with the other participants. I'm also going to do a deadline show as well to see what happens with the rest of the league, if we end up making any other acquisitions. I know I wanted to do something on a lot of what we've heard. I did read the message from Chris about trying to project some positivity about the Mo Salah situation. So I'm definitely going to put together something. Maybe hopefully Chris can get involved in that as well. But put that out there to kind of ease the nerves and everything of our fan base on that predicament. But other than that, obviously I'll be participating on great platforms like yours, or Liverpool, other Liverpool channels as well on various platforms, and obviously my own. So, and I put in the where you can find me, which is at Liverpool. If you put in at Liverpool 12th man, I will pop up. You'll see my little what do you call that? The little little thing. I don't know how to put it. The little is that the avatar? Yes, avatar.
Yeah.
You'll just see the avatar, and you'll know you are at the right spot in the right place. And they,
What are you in? What are you on Twitter? Liverpool 12.
So the Redz 12th man, the Redz 12th man on Twitter. The Redz.
Oh, Red 12 man. Okay, the Red 12 man.
For some reason, I couldn't get Liverpool 12th man on. I couldn't get Liverpool 12th man on Twitter, but that'll all change once we start getting some Mighty Reds and Mighty Reds Army that I'm trying to build up, and get the numbers all high and everything else. Then we'll change it to Liverpool 12th man on Twitter. But for right now, the Redz 12th man on Twitter, but at Liverpool 12th man here on YouTube. So thank you for having me on again. Always. And
listen, you're always welcome. Was it Hamza said big up Rod, big up to you, make sure you hit the like button, Hamza, and also if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Right, that's it for tonight. What time's the thing tomorrow, the Europa Cup draw?
Noon. I believe I want to say it's noon your time.
Right, I'm gonna do a show tomorrow because I'll be about, so I'll do a show for the Europa Cup settings. You know what I mean? See how we get. So after the show, I'll do the thumbnail and put it out there. So you'll see me at noon tomorrow, even before then, and for the draw to see who we get in the Europa Cup group stage, and then I'll be back again on. I'll be back again on Saturday evening for the panel debate show, and then Sunday I'll be doing the watch along show, and then I'm gonna do the reaction show on the same day, probably about 8 or 9 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? 8 or 9, something like that. But yeah, there's some shows coming up, and have exciting people like these guys on here as well. Do you remember I'm on my road to 1K? I'm currently sitting at 849 at the moment, so I'm 151 away from my target. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, okay? Also hit the like button as well. Hit me up in the comment section as well. Big up to Ensman, big up to Justin, big up to Chudon, Redbird, big up to Marion, Stefano, Mark A, and everybody else in the chat. Big up to you guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. In the meantime, we are out, and we have to say peace to you guys, and peace and love and respect. Take care till I see you guys soon. Take care. Peace. Peace.